Hello everyone, welcome to Module 6. All right, we've got 3 weeks left in this class, and I bet you can't wait for that and have summer semester be, but most students always like summer. It's usually a little bit easier semester for most folks. But we have only 3 more weeks to go, so I thought this would be a great time to touch base with you, talk about what we're doing in Module 6, really talk about how we're going to end the course over modules 6, 7, and 8. Also give a few other little tidbits here, so bear with me. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at Module 6. So let's jump into that, because I think when you look at Module 6 initially, you kind of go, oh my God, what is he doing? So it looks a little intimidating, but it's really not that bad when you kind of break it down a little bit. So the first thing that we have is, that introduction, easy, takes like 5 minutes to read that. Then you've got your readings and presentations. You got your videos, you know about those. You've got a case study. That might be the thing that is like, oh my gosh, another case study. Well, we're only going to have 2 case studies in this class, each exploring a different facet of healthcare finance. You guys did really, really well on the last set of case studies. The vast majority of you did fantastic, exactly what we were looking for, what I was hoping for. Again, not necessarily right answers, though many of you had very good rationale behind your answers. Excellent job there. Again, just putting forth that good faith effort, using some of the information that we've learned in the textbook up until the point of that case study. You guys did a great job in that. Same thing with case study number 2. You're going to do that as well. Put forth your best faith effort. There might be maybe there will be a little bit more mathy stuff in there, but remember, you've got the calculators that we've been going over in the video lectures, and this one's going to be skewed to kind of playing with, some of those calculators. Might make your job potentially a lot easier if you go that route. So, and as I've mentioned to many of you as well, that you can get an A in this course and not have one correct answer as far as the exact number, as long as you're applying good critical thinking and that information that you have, that you've been gathering up until that point of that case study. In this particular case study, you're going to have almost all the tools available to you, throughout this course, because you'll be kind of winding it up in Module 7. So I'm going to be looking for all of that kind of pushed back into this case study as you formulate your answers. So the other thing I'd give you some encouragement to do is make sure if I have the tips video in there on case number 2, watch the tips video. That will help you with that. So for those of you that got great grades the last time, keep doing what you're doing on those case studies, but I'd still watch the tip video because there might be a little bit something different in there. And for those of you, maybe you weren't quite so happy with the grade, but you did, again, all of you did generally a good effort, some better than others, but maybe you want to kick it up another notch, watch the tip video. Okay, so there's a little, I guess not so much of a hint there, kind of a blatant hint for you to watch that tip video. So we have another case study, but it's again not due for 2 weeks. Won't be due until the end of Module 7. So you can do a little bit of work this week on it, finish it up next week, and you'll be fine. We have a learning activity. You guys are doing great with the learning activities. Just make sure, I've got it all over the place. I've still had a couple students doing the wrong problems or questions. Please note the back of each chapter has a set of problems and a set of questions. Make sure if I'm asking for a problem, you do the problem part. If I'm asking for a question, you're doing the question part. Problems tend to be more math-oriented. Questions are more narrative. Had a student who just did all of the math problems. That was great, but you put a lot of work into it. When I had, there was only really one math problem necessary, kind of math, you know what I mean, by just using the calculator. Some of you have found that out, found that's not too bad. So I think mission accomplished. Then there were some narrative questions, but the individual did all of the problems rather than the 2 questions and the 1 problem. Does it make any sense? But just make sure you look at the back of the book. It's a little tricky. I mentioned that probably about 4 times. And I really don't like how the book does that with problem questions and questions. So just make sure you're doing the right one. Make your life easier. In the case that student did all the math problem, I gave them points for it because they did a lot more harder work and did it all by hand. So definitely I gave them credit for that. But do make sure you're careful there on what we're asking for. So you got your normal learning activity, midterm. Midterm will be very similar to the last one, so not too bad. All of you did really well on the midterm. So I got the vast majority. I think, probably 90% of you got A's on that. So it was a really good, really great job on that. And we'll have a progress journal. You know the progress journals aren't that hard. Maybe it takes you 10 minutes of your work and you're done with it. Easy 25 points. Okay, so easy 25 points. But make sure you are putting good faith effort, you know, in that progress journal, giving me any ideas for improving that I need to do, or whatever the questions of the week are for that particular progress journal that you're addressing those questions. And you can always put anything else you want in there. So feel free. It's a dialogue, it's a connection piece. It's really helpful for me in improving the course, even over the next 3 weeks that we have. It's a great way for us to connect. So we've got that. So when you look at it, and I'll have instructions for graduating students, and I'll talk about that in just a second, but really when you look at it this week, the biggest thing you got to do is your midterm. You got your learning activity, and then your progress journal. That'll be easy. And start a little bit of work on that case study, which won't be due until Module 7. Now, in Module 5, I asked the folks to self-identify who is completing this spring. And I would drum roll here. Drum roll, please. All right, here we go. And we have 4 individuals who have identified that they are graduating this spring. So congratulations to Holly, Amy, Miriam, and Paul for graduating this spring. I bet you're really excited about that. Because you're graduating this spring, grades are going to be due a little bit earlier for you than other students. So for those of you that aren't graduating this spring, you can kind of tune me out for the next 60 seconds. For Holly, Amy, and Miriam, and Paul, tune in for the next 60 seconds. So, because you're graduating this spring, and graduation is on, or I should say commencement is on, that's the ceremony where you get your diploma, you get your handshake, get your picture taken. That commencement ceremony is going to be on Friday, May 3rd. Your grades for this class are due Wednesday morning, May 1st. Because you actually get your real diploma, you get your real honor cords. Any GPA awards that you may be given are going to be given to you at commencement. So we need to calculate all that before you walk across that stage and get your diploma to make sure you've met graduation requirements. And in this course may be necessary for that, but all of your courses have to follow the same rules if you're a graduating individual, you know, in this particular semester. So what that means for you is we got to get everything in, and I got to have everything that you need to do for this class in by Wednesday morning, May 1st by 8 a.m. I will come in, I'm here by 8, but I'll wait till 8, I'll come into the class, and then I'll grade that. Now, because I understand that you have a few days, about, well, almost half a week less than the other students to complete your assignments, we're going to edit that a little bit for you. So take a look at the instructions here on what you have to complete by May 1st, and you'll be all fine. Now, if you're still paying attention to me and your name is not on here and you are a graduating individual this spring, let me know. Because you're going to follow all of these rules, or I guess all these requirements that are listed here. So, all right, excellent. Okay, so that looks good. And let's see, jumping back out, let's talk a little bit, kind of give you an overview of the next few weeks. So in Module 7, not too bad. You know, you're going to have a small topic, again, your topic essay, which you're used to. You'll have a learning activity, and then you'll also be completing that case study. In Module 8, again, we're going to do a topic essay, a learning activity, and a final exam. For that final exam, please make sure you look at your other 2 midterms. Hint, there'll be a lot of information brought back on midterm 1 and 2. So take a look at those when you study for the final. There will be some additional information from the 2 modules that we've covered since your last midterm at that point. That would be Module 7, Module 8. So you'll see a few questions in there as well. But students, by and large, always do really well on all of those. The midterm, the finals, they do really well. And it's open book, open note, and I'm pretty generous with the time. All right, so that's pretty much it. I think this week is an important week in really setting the foundation so you're not really overwhelmed, I should say, in weeks 7 and 8. So my recommendation is do some foundational work in that case study. Sketch it out a little bit, and that way you can just kind of finish it up next week without having to do everything in Module 7. That's my hope, by giving you two weeks with that. All right, well, that concludes our kind of the Module 6 update. Again, everybody's doing a really great job. One of the best groups I've seen in a long time with this. And I know that in reading your progress journals, and do check out that audio feedback. I left all of you audio feedback on your last progress journal. And I know many of you don't like finance. That's okay. Many of you said you don't like the numbers, but and I totally get that. Most students don't necessarily like finance, and again, it's okay. I do think, though, as I've told a few of you in the audio feedback, that the goal of this class is really two. There's two kind of secret goals for this class. One is to give you the skills, obviously the biggest one that sticks right out there, the skills necessary if you were to be in a management, supervisor, leadership position in healthcare, that you would have at least some of the basic tools, financial tools to do your job. That's, I guess, the biggest goal. The second goal that we have for this class is to give you those tools, those finance tools, to guide your career. Because so many influences, actually the greatest influence on your career, on your professional career, are going to be the foundation of that's going to be finance. Where the jobs are going to be is going to be based on finance. Where the opportunities are going to be is going to be based on the money. I mean, it is. Even though you might be in, we're obviously, all of us are in healthcare, and many of us are care providers, but all of that's driven by resources, and those resources are almost always quantified with dollars. And when you have dollars, you have financial principles that come into play. So knowing how those things kind of work can help shape your career decisions. And the goal for that is for you to have long, productive, meaningful careers that are also rewarding for yourself as well. And finance, understanding how some of those things work, is going to be necessary for you to even shape and guide your own career. So those are kind of those are the two major goals of this class. Most people don't connect finance with their own career planning, but obviously the income you make, that's the easy one. But how financial decisions influence your career, and those financial decisions that you have no control over, shape your career choices, where you can work. So you being able to kind of understand that landscape, kind of have the ability to read the map of how things are working, you can navigate your own career a little bit better. It's never going to be perfect, but it could help you from making some decisions that you could later on regret with your career. So there you go. I'll get off that soapbox. But it's okay not to like finance. Hopefully you understand and appreciate the principles, though, by the end of this course. So, all right, everybody, have a great week, and I'll check in with you next week.